Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, and a day or two ago we showed a video about the Penn 430 SSG spin fishing reel, and we mentioned that we had its cousin or brother. The one that we did was made in the USA. We did a bearing swap. We showed you how to service and repair it, and we mentioned this one's got an issue. Just a lot of clicking going on there. Something is wrong. Wrong on two places. It's wrong on the drag being fully tightened down and not working, and it's wrong with that oscillation click click. So what we're going to do here is a video to show you how to diagnose the problems, and we'll find out what needs to be repaired. I'm thinking there's a broken part in here somewhere that's going to have to be replaced, and we'll just use this one as a why the fishing reels fail. And if you're looking at this one because you want to see how to fully service the reel, that is available, as I mentioned, posted on my site for the 430 SSG. Well, I'm curious about the drag washer. That's usually an easy one, so let's start there. We're going to remove the drag adjuster button, and first thing I'm seeing is that the retention clip was not set properly in the groove. I hope you can see that. You can notice that there's a wire that's hanging up here. Well, that wire is probably preventing the drag adjuster knob from locking down fully on this. So I'm going to just remove that clip right now, being careful not to let it thread out too far. And then we can go ahead and remove the washer. And for whatever reason, that was a pretty tough fit there. And then let's look at the drag washer here. All right. Well, the drag washer is held in by a series of studs or the like. That's not the issue. I think this one is probably just because, well, oh, we got something going on down there too. What is that? Oh, a lockdown. That's an interesting one too. Well, there's a broken piece in here, but that's not the click. All right, let's solve for the drag washer. The drag washer goes in those slots, the triangular studs facing on each one. It's the metal pressure plate. Now that's different from the one that I just had, and I'm not sure if that's a change in the Chinese design. It wouldn't surprise me. Now let's go ahead and make sure that this retention clip gets seated properly so that the wires are not hanging on that lid where we're going to be trying to pull that in under even pressure. Let's go ahead and put that back on. This is a very tight fit for whatever reason. I'm not sure what's going on there, but let's go ahead and put the button back on now and see if it's as simply as a clip that just wasn't done properly. Well, I'm thinking that's not the case. So what I'm thinking is, let's go ahead and swap spools. So I have the other one, which is the US one. I'm going to take the spool off of this one, and we'll put it on the other, and we'll see if that issue remains. Let's use the button from the other one too. Well, it's in the spool. It's in the spool or it's in the button. So always, if you have this is the best thing to do, right? Now notice the difference here. Notice this washer versus this washer. My guess is that this is the wrong washer for the pressure plate, and that you're just not getting the tie down on it. So I'm going to have to order some parts. You can see the difference just jump right out at you. They're different washers. I don't even know where this one came from, but my guess is that's not the one that belongs with this reel. I'm going to have to order some pieces and parts anyway, so I would go ahead and do that. The reason I say it's different is this should be keyed. If you look at this washer in the center here, it's keyed. It's got two flat sides and a rounded side. This one is completely round. So the idea of holding this spool to the shaft, well, you need the two square sides to hold it. If you don't have those two square sides, it just won't hold. So we got to replace the washer on that one. All right, mystery solved on part one of this issue, why reels fail, and how to fix it. The issue is to do that. Well, if you have any questions on fishing reels, if you like the idea of fishing reel repair, if you like the idea of trying to figure out why they fail or whatever, then, well, if you subscribe to the channel, that's the best thing to do, and hit the notifications. You'll see how it goes. If you're just along because you're trying to fix a reel and you have a question, please ask that. Leave that in the comment section, and I'll try and answer that for you. Well, I probably took the handle off prematurely because I think I wanted to leave that on. We've got an oscillation issue now. We want to find out what's clicking and clacking in there. We've already noticed that when they put the tie down on for the rotor nut, that wasn't installed properly. And now we got a click and a clack going on here. So we're trying to figure out what it is. And interestingly enough, that's the bottom button. Let's put that handle back on and see what we can find out. If you can do a visual when you're doing these things rather than guess, that's usually a good place to start. My initial guess would have been that we've got an issue in the oscillation gear. It's sticking right here. So I'm going to remove the tie down. And the gearing itself, we'll check behind that. The crossline block seems fine. I'm thinking that we might have a worn piece in this oscillation gear. So let's go remove that. We want to check to see if there's anything unusually worn in here. So we're checking for damaged teeth, and surprisingly I'm not seeing it on this side, so that usually means that it could be on the main gear side. Take a look there. And again, we're going to check the teeth in here now. And it would tell you that it would seem to be an issue with the smaller drive rather than the big drive because it's happening sporadically. Again, I'm not seeing anything unusual. What I am seeing appears to be a warped gear. It's hard for you to see it on the camera, but it looks like it's bent out of shape. So I think what we need to do with this one, we need to replace the gear itself. I think what's happening is this is rounding over. If you spin this gear, and I know it's hard to see, that is not a flat gear. It should be square, and it's got a noticeable wobble left to right in it. So we're going to replace the main gear, we're going to replace the oscillation gear. That should solve the issue. But before I leave there, I just want to make sure that there is no scarring going on the pinion gear either. But we're okay there. The last thing I'll check, just to be certain, I want to make sure that the oscillation gear fits on the stud snugly. And it does. All right. So I think we've got it to the point where that gear is warped. How does that happen? Surprisingly, one of the things that can cause that is an over-tightened handle. There's just 2 pivot points on this gear in addition to the spiral gear. There's one on each side of the reel, right? There's one on the left side, one on the right side of the case. And if it starts to wobble, sometimes it's the bearing itself that the bearing is become broken. Sometimes it's a misalignment and it's causing the gear to move like this, and eventually it takes that shape of a wave. And I'll check this one too just to see. Yeah, there's a lot of play in this gear back to back at the bearing. So there's a good chance that it might just be that itself. All right, well, we've got some work to do. It's not a definitive answer. The gears should be relatively inexpensive. That's the best way to go right now to make sure that you eliminate that click. So lessons learned, right? 2 reels not created equal. Somebody did some work on this reel. They had some issues with it, and they didn't set the right drag washer up top, and something's happened inside with the true on that gear itself. So we'll get those parts, we'll get these ordered, and we'll make sure that this reel gets a second chance. I hope you've enjoyed that. To all of our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. To everybody, please stay safe, stay well, stay watching, and have some great fishing. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.